Welcome. I am Desmond McNeese. This is We Mixed It. Presenting the Sounds Awesome network of podcasts. What we are bringing you today is a little introduction to all of our podcasts. You are listening to this because you are a fan of one of our podcasts, and I think you should be a fan of all of our podcasts. So this is going to be a chance for us to all introduce ourselves. Today we will be talking to the hosts of the Be Brave podcast, That Fitness Couple, Truth Not Trends, Thank the Light, Time Pop, and All the Answers. Please listen and enjoy. I think these are all wonderful people, and this is a chance to check out some podcasts by some great hosts that I think you will enjoy listening to, even if the content wouldn't necessarily show up at the top of your algorithms. I think great people make great podcasts. I'm giving this little introduction because I think we're going to have to jump right into this. We're trying to get everybody in. We are literally coast to coast. We are recording this. I live on the West Coast, so that is where I am recording this. We have some East Coast people, so we're going to get them in before it gets too late over there. So the next thing you hear may be us just jumping right in with the host, introducing them and getting to know them right away. So in case we don't have any time for any opening banter, this is your intro. And there will be plenty of time for banter on the back end. Trust me. This may be a little echoey. I'm going to apologize for that up top. My studio is not really built for as many people as I need to squeeze into it. So I would rather have us all be comfortable and echoey than tight and hot and sweaty, even if that would mean better audio. So I apologize for that. If you subscribe to these podcasts, the finished audio will sound a little bit tighter than this episode does. So don't be scared by the echo of my large kitchen and wood table that we're recording this around. Thank you. And if you would like to join the Sounds Awesome network of podcasts, head over to whatsoundsawesome.com. That is whatsoundsawesome.com, where you can find more information about all of these podcasts. And there is a tab there that you can select and contact me if you would like to be the next podcast on the Sounds Awesome network. Thank you. Please enjoy Sounds Awesome network of podcasts Extravaganza.
You can be amazing, you can turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast to be the backlash of somebody's lack of love. Or you can start speaking up. Nothing's gonna hurt you the way the words do when they say.
You want to go first, Cara?
Sure. So every person has a story, and we're focusing on women right now, but of something that a challenge they faced, a life event that was a challenge for them, a challenging situation. Basically, I can boil it down to a quote from Brene Brown, and this is what we read at the beginning of every podcast. One day you will tell your story of how you've overcome what you're going through now, and it will become part of someone else's survival guide. And that is the mission of the Be Brave podcast.
As someone who has listened to every single episode 3 times, give or take, it is a team podcast. And like I said, you've only interviewed women so far, but for anyone to think it's just a show women by women is wrong. Like, everyone needs to check this out.
Aw, thanks, Des.
Thank you.
Well, we wouldn't be as good as we are without an awesome sound engineer, Des. I mean, you mix it up so well for us, and you put surprises at the end, and you really make it personal for us too. Like, sometimes a interviewee, one of our guests, will say something we might not pick up on how special it is, but you will make it special by inserting a special sound or song or quote from a movie. And it's really great. You're really creative like that. And we couldn't do what we do without you.
Well,
thank you
very much. You guys are awesome. I wanted to ask you guys, just since you've been doing the show, have you learned much? You know, I know that you guys most likely started the show because you already knew that you had amazing friends that all had a story to tell. Have you learned anything since you started recording the show about yourselves or your friends?
Totally have learned a ton. I'm sure Cara has some things that she can comment on, and I know Cara will agree with this. One of the biggest things we've learned is one, I think everybody has a story, and no matter who we are, where we are in life, we've overcome adversity and we've gotten to the other side of it. Whether we found happiness and joy on the other side of it, that might be another story, right? But the thing that we learn the most is that, okay, we interview women. So these women will say, oh, my story, like, who am I? What's my story? What do you mean? So I lost my husband in the World Trade Center, at 9/11 while I was pregnant with our child. And I'm no better than anybody else. So the humility that people have, the strength that they have that they don't even realize is strength, the things they go through and they don't even know that they're persevering, like one of life's most difficult challenges that some people could never face and find the other side of happily or find joy again, losing a child. I mean, we have interviewed people that have been through stuff where I can say, my life has not, thankfully, had some of those challenges where they say the same thing, right? Who am I? My life hasn't hit some of those challenges that I've heard from your other guests. So it's interesting how we will compare our worst life experience with other people's worst life experience, but see other people's worse than our own. Does that make sense? What I even just said?
Absolutely.
And people's willingness to share is amazing. We just tell people about the podcast, not even soliciting anything from people. And they're like, you know what? Yeah, I had this kind of happen and blah, blah, blah. Would you be willing to share that? Oh, sure. Absolutely. It's fantastic.
And I would like to introduce you to Katie Rubin right now. She is a fellow Floridian.
No, come on.
Come on, are you really, Katie?
I live in Florida presently. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. She's like, I don't want to live in that state. I like my state better.
Are you in Florida?
Yes, we're in Florida.
Where? Which part?
Clearwater. Where are you living right now?
I have stories about Clearwater. I'm in Jacksonville at the moment.
Okay.
Much different.
But besides being a Floridian, that's not why I introduced you. I think she would be a wonderful guest on your show. And I think that you guys should get into contact after this. And I think Katie should be on an episode of the Beat Break. And you're welcome to come on All the Answers too if you want to get your
please.
If you want to get your Akashic Records read.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, cool. That would be great.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Okay, well, I'm sorry I'm going to keep you guys on. Well, we are going to bring in the other East Coasters right now, Mike and Corrie-Beth.
All right.
I know them both.
Let's go.
Hello, Mike and Corrie-Beth, or AKA That Fitness Couple.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How are you?
Phenomenal.
How about you guys? Wishing we were as fit as you.
Wait, I want to be clear. Did you say phenomenal or just nominal?
Oh, it's always with the "f" in front, always.
Nominal. We're nominal. Yeah, it's nominal.
Okay, so I would like to start this off. I would like to start That Fitness Couple off with a little true or false.
Oh.
Look at this.
Yeah.
As has been pointed out, you guys look fantastic, and I'm going to guess that you work out 3 hours a day to maintain your competition-ready bodies.
Balls.
You spend hours a day preparing a balanced, pyramid-appropriate diet to feed your strong bodies.
Definitely false.
You have little time left for your children because of all the time that goes into maintaining your physique.
Wait, what kids? False.
Well, welcome. We'll tell this will be going out to lots of people who may not have, a lot of fitness podcasts may not rise up in their algorithm. So talk to some podcast listeners about your podcast and what you guys do.
Well, basically, what we do is in our professional lives outside of podcasting, we are the co-founders of Pure Physique, or I should say the founders. I call myself a co-founder now because since Corrie-Beth came on board, I'm no longer just the founder. I am a co-founder. So you're welcome. But we own fitness studios that are focused on helping busy parents and professionals get fit with less than 90 minutes of exercise per week. And so we take a very time-efficient approach to everything that we do, which is why your true and false questions were just so appropriate for us. Because actually, I don't think collectively we work out more than 3 hours in an entire week. And no, we don't spend a lot of time prepping our food because we eat predominantly primal. So you give us a piece of steak on a plate and we are pretty happy with just that. But, aside from that, yes, we do have 2 wonderful children, 2 very active boys who keep us quite busy when we are not in business mode or podcast mode. But generally speaking, I mean, our big focus is just on building people up. And that's what we try to do through our business. That's what we try to do through the podcast, just bringing on great guests to educate people, but also serve as a source of inspiration.
And again, as the person who is listening to your podcast more than anybody on the planet, I can say you guys give great advice. You're wonderful cheerleaders for each other and your clients. And it's just, I'm so lucky to have your information going in my ears as a regular basis. I haven't put it all to use, but it's all that great information is rolling around in my head.
It's a journey. It's a journey one step at a time,
And I can tell you, you 2 have made me laugh. Sorry, everyone else. Any other podcast.
What?
I know.
Comedy battle.
Because most of our shows, the point is to make each other laugh. So we're always kind of like bracing for it and trying to one up the next person's joke. And, you guys can obviously have a good time and like to joke around, but your podcast is often, science-based and fact-based. And so when you guys take a hard left from that and start cracking each other up, it catches me off. You're what not to not do if you don't want to stay.
Hold on. My dad was so proud to share that podcast, our podcast, with all of his friends. And unfortunately, that was the first episode that his friends listened to. And by the end of it, they were so confused because they didn't realize it was a sarcastic podcast about like, you should eat lots of seed oils and eat lots of flour and sugar. They were like, wait, are we supposed to eat bread? Like, they were so confused.
That's when I made mention that he should probably get different friends.
That's awesome. Well, I'm sorry to keep moving this ship along. I would love to hang out and chat, but Liam has a client at 6. So we're going to get the TNT podcast in here too. And just in case anyone doesn't know, Patty knows Corrie-Beth and Mike.
That's our girl.
Hello.
I haven't met them, but it's nice to meet you now.
Nice to meet you too.
So yeah, we're going to bring in our local, the people who train me. What? ENT, Truth Not Trends, Jesse Schmidt and Liam Bauer.
We are about to launch.
What's up?
Hey.
Jesse, you are looking so bald.
Look at that hair.
Oh my goodness. Your head matches your biceps.
Yeah, I chopped it off.
Nice.
So I was small head, so that helps.
You want it to look more like Liam? Liam, you're muted. Liam, you're muted. You're still muted, Liam.
Liam, hit the unmute button.
I heard that.
That's it, Mike. That's the final straw. He's gone.
I think he's coming to your place and he's going to strangle you.
What did we miss? What's going on?
You guys are so fucking stupid as you don't understand that I left it off on purpose.
Oh my Lord.
It was for all of our protection.
Jesus Christ, what's wrong with you people?
Ah, now it's a party. He is over 60.
Yeah. What's up, Patty?
Hey, Liam. How are you?
I'm good.
I thought Scott had a really good question for you guys.
What's that? Oh, are they trying to, because they work together now, they start to look more the same?
No, you asked.
You both are like, I think you don't have to overwork out. Who works out the least in a week between the two of you?
Jesse.
What do you mean lifting weights?
In a week, how much time do you work out?
Well, do you mean lifting weights? Because I do other stuff that's not lifting weights.
It's me. I work out 1 hour. I beat all of you. 60 minutes is all I do.
Would be less than that.
It might be me.
I only do, in my workouts, I only do 3 sets to failure 3 times a week. So I'm actually only doing 9 total sets to failure in a week.
She wins. She's
But wait, Liam doesn't do cardio.
Well, if you count up my sets to failure, we're talking about 9 minutes, right? So
Oh, we do 9 minutes a week?
wins.
9 times 3, 27 minutes a week.
you're missing the under. It's 9 total sets for the whole week. So 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. That's 9 when you add them all up. 9 times 1, 9.
You do sets until you can't to failure.
Right. Yeah. So 9 minutes a week.
It's an estimate.
I love that this is a race to the bottom. I really appreciate that this is a race to the bottom.
The time where you're lying there breathing, that's still part of your workout time.
What about the time like focusing and forcing yourself, like psyching yourself up to get in the car and go to the gym?
Yeah. Or what about the dry heaving afterwards?
Jesse did 10 sets the other day in 11 minutes.
11 minutes of self-hatred.
So he did 11 minutes of work for the week.
Oh gosh, I love TNT. They'll bring they'll make a podcast do a hard left on a dime.
But they don't make you laugh as much as Corrie-Beth and
Yeah, apparently. Corrie-Beth and Mike are the
All
funniest.
the pretty people are also the funniest.
That's it.
That's so you know I'm the funniest then. Is that what you're saying?
Are we not pretty, Cara?
Apparently not. No.
Liam, come here. Just come to the top of the screen. I'll give you some hair, right? Right there. We just put that on you.
See what you can do.
There's no hope there. There's no.
No, I got less hair than you everywhere.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
He went there.
Des, it was 8:55 Eastern Standard Time when you lost control.
Think of the other guys. Think of the other guys. You might think I'm hairy. Shaved.
We don't need to see proof, by the way.
It's okay.
We don't need to see that.
Mike's seen it. He just doesn't want to talk about it.
Liam's like a dolphin. He's like working at
Corrie-Beth, let's talk poop since we're here.
Yeah.
I mean, once a day, man.
Hey, who needs more than once a day?
two for
What?
before and after
2 poops a
coffee.
day. 2 poops a
Yeah.
day.
You're eating too much fiber.
I got a poop message the other day. I was not expecting it. I was like, Facebook, this is another podcaster, you guys. You might not know. And he's like, just so you know, I'm pooping fine lately. I was like, what? Thank you for letting me know. I'm glad that's the case.
I think that was meant for Corrie-Beth.
Maybe he's carnivore finally.
Yeah.
That's the real question. Who talks about poop more, Katie or Corrie-Beth?
I don't know, Katie. I want to listen now.
Mm.
We could trade poop notes.
Girl, I mean, I don't know. It's like every other sentence. So, but yours are probably like adorable and useful. Mine are like
Adorable and useful. I like it. Aren't all poops useful?
Is it like a paperweight?
no.
Jesse got me a present this week. I came to work and on the desk waiting for me was the perhaps well known to some book called Everybody Poops.
Classic. Yeah.
Famous book.
And it is quite a good book. It's educational.
Did it calm some of your anxieties? Like, did it actually make you feel seen?
Make you feel seen.
I always feel sane. That's not an issue.
It's the one unifying thing, right?
And why is that, Scott?
It's really beautiful.
I thought people didn't talk about their poop like this until like we were older and had nothing else to talk about.
We are older.
Everything that eats poops.
Liam's there.
That's right.
I thought we had more to talk about than our poop.
I have to represent the senior community apparently this evening.
Well, while you have 2 minutes left, Liam, why don't you tell everybody your podcast?
Is it about fecal matter?
No,
Oh,
That's the fitness couples.
but it could be. We could do an episode on that book or anything else along that line. We could share that. Maybe that'll be coming up soon. Everybody Poops. I'll read it out loud on the podcast. It's not a long book. when I was in college, I actually had a side hustle where people would pay me and this other dude to come to their rooms and read them bed stories and bring them milk and cookies.
Oh man, that does not surprise me.
And girls would pay us to come to the rooms and tuck them in.
No, they did not.
Yeah, they did. I just heard a bell. I probably have to run.
Hey, Desmond, what's their podcast about?
Hey, Desmond.
Ask about Jesse. Jesse, what's your podcast about, Jesse?
Our podcast helps people. Our podcast helps people maximize their poop as safely and efficiently as possible.
Yes.
You know, I was saying to Desmond, is there something universal that could bring all of his podcasts together? I thought with like faith and help, but I'm seeing now that poop is the one thing that can bring us all together. Stories, meaning.
It surrounds us and binds us.
Yeah.
Like the Force.
Spirituality, time travel, being brave. Being brave.
You do have to be brave sometimes. Yeah.
Yes, you do. Patty, we have to try and figure out how to loop in the poop.
They just did. You got to be brave sometimes. Oh, God. I don't want to go there.
It's
Cara.
nice to see you, Patty.
Good to see you, Liam.
Are we done? Is that it? That's all we get?
I have a feeling I have to run away soon.
Hey, what's your favorite carnivore meals you guys have eaten lately, Corrie-Beth and Mike?
Oh my gosh, tonight beef short ribs in the slow cooker. You guys.
Oh yeah.
Ridiculous.
Delicious.
I like to make Caesar salad with a giant ribeye chopped up in it.
That's now you're speaking my language.
I just got 10 pounds of chicken wings from Costco, and I've been popping them in the air fryer. Delicious.
Yep, not bad.
Oh, look at that.
Ooh, what is it?
Is that a steak? What is that?
Oh,
it's
it
a
is?
steak. Nice.
Very nice.
Fresh from the butcher.
Yes.
Oof.
That's what she said.
Oh, I'm on my way.
Bingo.
So I just want to, I'm talking to the listeners now. So this started off with, I don't think we've seen.
Is it a seeing?
Seen our,
Is it a hearing?
well, just kind of poke your face in real quick just so that they can see it.
Where have you been this whole time?
I'm over here.
So Ari and I started a podcast. Ari overheard Katie talking about, Cassidy and I recorded a show last night and we don't know what the hell to do with it. So Ari said, you should call Desmond.
Oh, yeah.
And then Ari and Scott were working out with Liam and Jesse, and Liam and Jesse were like, hey, I think we're going to get our podcast going again. And they said, well, you should talk to my boy Des. He'll do that. And then on top of
Jesse's got 3D glasses on.
He's like my 7-year-old, right?
Yeah, this guy.
That is correct, Des. Scotty Too Hottie gave us the recommendation.
great podcast. And so it's just a wonderful family that has been formed through word of mouth here that I cannot be any more grateful for if I tried.
Boom, baby.
All together is Poop and Desmond.
Desmond, Scotty, Ari, Cara, Corrie-Beth, Mike Lepowski, Patty, Jesse. I love you guys. I gotta run.
Bye.
I gotta go beat somebody up.
Take care, old man.
Thank you, young man.
Scott is Mortified in New York.
Yes, it's in Brooklyn.
Hey, Corrie-Beth and Mike, you guys got to go see it, man. It's freaking hilarious. I don't know. Brooklyn might be a trek, but worth it.
Where in New York are you?
We live in Dutchess County, so we're about like 45 minutes north of the city.
I was just up there. I lived in Beacon. You guys know Beacon?
Oh yeah,
10 minutes from us.
yep.
Yeah, I miss it.
You could have came and worked out, talked poop, ate a steak.
2 years, Katie is domiciled in
3 years.
3 years, California, Colorado, New York, Florida.
With an
Florida, yes.
We're going to fly.
Florida.
oranges and flowers.
Florida.
I like to travel.
If you guys, we're going to start with the Be Brave podcast. What episode would you recommend any listeners start with? Do you have a favorite episode or one that you feel like kind of epitomizes what you do? Or maybe people can start with one of your episodes and learn all about the hosts.
You couldn't have given this question to us ahead of time, so we could have thought about this.
Cara, who Cara comes to mind is Paula Williams Stone.
Great one.
I mean, I feel like especially for women, because our podcast is all about women overcoming adversity. This is a woman that she was born a man, and at 4 years old, he believed that he was born with the wrong body and he'd be able to pick out his body when he went to kindergarten. And when he went to kindergarten and he couldn't pick out the right body for himself, he thought somewhere else in his life he'd be able to do that. So he spent his entire life as a tall, white male in an evangelical industry, evangelical Christian industry. And so this man did TV shows and radio shows and built churches and created communities as a white male. And at the age of 60, decided to finally transition because he felt like something really bad was going to happen, or he was going to do something really bad to himself. And so he decided to transition and had the surgery. He had 3 children and 3 children, Cara? I think
3 children and a wife.
2 daughters, 1 was adopted. Yeah, and a wife. And the only person who ever knew this was his wife. And they had been in counseling since the day they got married. And she knew it since the day they got married. And so he had the sex change and then became a woman and was able to describe to us. And she wrote a book about like sex, careers, and everything about as a man and a woman and how they're different, but was able to express to us how she was treated so differently as a woman than a man. And, you know, it was for me, it was something like I'm a woman in a man's business. And I really never believed that women were treated differently until I kind of started this brick and mortar in a kind of a man-dominated industry. But she kind of validated that for me as a woman, because you think it might happen and you think that that's going on. But for me, I never really wanted to believe that. I didn't want to believe that people were really like that it was gender, color, whatever kind of bias. So, but she said, you know what? Yeah, it is. It 100% is.
Episode 33 of the Be Brave podcast that people should go start with. Episode 33.
Sorry, I went on too long. 33.
No, that is
like an announcer.
Yeah. I do.
Yeah, is that Scott? Scott, you are an announcer. Do you do a podcast?
And the only thing I remember about that episode is it makes me want to find the long lost unrecorded TED Talk about what it feels like to have sex as a man and what it feels like to have sex as a woman.
Wow.
Yep.
Who knows?
Wow.
It's in her book. I think they took that podcast down, but it's in her book.
It was never recorded.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, remember that was what they did. Yeah, she did that topic to everyone who was also doing a TED Talk that day in the audience, but they was not recorded.
Yeah, it was on purpose. It was like a very special TED Talk where it was like, you're either there or you don't get it.
Huh. What a topic.
Where, if people are interested in maybe getting in touch with you to become a guest on your show, how would they do that, Cara?
The email address is fearless@bebravepodcast.com.
There we go. Check it out. Listen to that show. It's awesome. Mike and Corrie-Beth, you two, as you've already learned, you do everything double time, except for work out. You managed to do that in half the time as everyone else. So you've had a podcast for 3 months now, and we're just ready to publish your 60th episode.
Wow.
What? Holy cow.
It's so much time.
Yeah.
All the time.
They're poor orphan children.
Just put them on tablets. They're fine.
On the streets of New York. Where's my
She's recording your podcast.
She's either filming or podcasting. So if a massive library that you've put up already, do you have one that you think people should start with?
Yeah, definitely. All of them are really great. We just did one with Dr. Brian Williams that we got to actually experience with Patty and Jesse and Liam up at the Resistance Exercise Conference.
Nice.
And it was just such a beautiful, I think, applicable to everyone here, whether or not you're interested in fitness. I think you could apply his episode and philosophies to life. And basically he says that the biggest disservice that we can do is not live each day to our full potential. And I love that. You know, he talks about acting now and acting today. And so I think no matter where you are, no matter what your interests are, you could take some of the concepts, feel some of our energy, and shine that light real bright, listening to episode 53.
Good call. Yeah, that was bright to listen to. That dude has some energy. That's a good call. And if anyone happens to be, I mean, you guys do online training, so people can get in touch with you for that. But if anyone's in the area, where are your brick and mortars at?
So we have 2 in New York. One is located in Shrub Oak, New York, which is in Westchester. The other is in LaGrangeville, Dutchess County. And then we are in Danbury, Connecticut.
That's where the cash happens.
You know it. Strategically placed.
I will put all of your links in the liner notes as well. Do you guys have anything, any ads or email addresses you want to give out here?
Yeah, I mean, you could always reach us at loveit@purephysique.com. And then, of course, we are all over social media, spend a lot of time on the gram. So typically you can find us there at Pure Physique, or just look up Corrie-Beth or Mike Lepowski individually, and we will pop up because there's not too many Lepowskis out there.
Is it just me, or does it look like Jesse might be skinning a rabbit?
Likely.
What is going?
I just unpacked TNT supplements. Hold on, wait. Let me take away the background for just a second.
Doing your own supplements?
Mike and Corrie-Beth will be very proud. TNT just is about to unveil our very own line of supplements. We have the Mind Muscle Connection, the creatine monohydrate, and we have the Cell Support Fish Oil, omega-3.
That's awesome. Congrats, man.
Good stuff.
Yes, we're very happy. We haven't even made this is groundbreaking right here. We haven't even made an official public announcement yet that this is happening.
Just did.
Oh, the cat's out of the bag.
Well, when you do, make sure you got those glasses on.
I will. But yeah, back to your point, Cap. I was doing lines of creatine. That's what was happening.
Is that how you do it?
That's the answer.
Did you do the lines anally?
Is there any other way? You had to ask. Had to go there. We're all professionals here.
The poop jokes don't stop.
Gauntlet thrown down earlier, and so it's gotta live up to that.
I blame Desmond for that.
Desmond's just losing it, man.
It's my fault. If people were in the Bay Area, Jesse, where might they find you?
Oakland, California. That's where we reside. We're about a 20-minute drive from San Francisco, the beautiful city of Oakland. Rockridge, the Rockridge neighborhood, to be exact.
Desmond, how does it feel to see all your different worlds in the same place? Is this like when you have a party and your summer camp friends, school friends, and your family friends are in the room?
Yeah. It is. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a little nervous to see how quickly we would
talk about poop.
I warned some of the other shows that some of the more PG shows that we do have some more R-rated shows. I'm gonna let
Keep talking about us.
And I think we all did good. But you're right. That's a very
This is powerful. This is your community.
You're the proud papa.
Oh my God.
You're the proud papa.
Let's all take
Papa Cappy. Papa Cappy.
Papa Cap.
Yay, Dad.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Can I give a plug for Time Pop?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. So I just started listening to Time Pop, by the way. And I don't know if Des shared this with you, but my first impression was like, wow, these guys are really nerds about time travel. And then I said, wow, I love how they're so into like how like keeping the authentic part of time travel, like making sure it all makes sense. And then I said, holy shit, I can't believe I totally forgot how much I loved time travel shows. So now I'm going back and I went right to your top 10 list, and I'm going to start watching all of those shows. I love that. And I just totally forgot about it.
And that is exactly what you said to me in my living room about Time Pop. That was couldn't have been more genuine and authentic.
Plug. I'm now going to watch
That was a good plug.
I'm like into it now.
That was such a good plug. I'm going to watch it.
maybe Scott will actually listen to a single.
Put it out there, and it goes in the air. It's in that
That's how I
moment,
feel.
and then it moves
I
on.
can't listen. I'm the same. Yeah.
Well, stay tuned for 11 through 20. So new inspiration is coming.
All right.
Our 11 through 20 podcast. So, well, thank you very much for that. And everyone here, I mean, we're talking to the listeners right now, but everyone here, check out everyone else's podcast. You'll, Katie and Cassidy, they talk about poop and then they get really spiritual. It's
sometimes in the same sentence.
Yeah.
Which one is your podcast, Katie and?
Welcome to that spiritual, actual, factual answers to questions you're asking. You find them inside you, reciting the records of cash. We laughing, we drafting the passion to vary. It's time for that comedy, dramedy, all of the fanciest, catchiest acronyms. Listeners, listen, we traveling. Consciousness always unraveling. The reading you're having is mapping you back to your natural habitat. Abracadabra, it's magicless, fascinating. To top it off, the host, all the classiest. Now, what were you asking for? All of the answers? What? All the answers.
All the answers. So
okay.
Akashic records for a guest and like talk to God and stuff. It's no big deal. We do fun things, and it's comedy and consciousness is kind of the idea. So yeah.
I could tell you have a great sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Cassidy came on the show to be the skeptic, and that lasted an episode and a half.
I'm in.
Yeah, it's Katie's for real.
Thanks, Dennis.
No doubt. Yeah, I didn't even think about introducing
what
you
about
guys
us,
all to
man?
each other. I'm always thinking about the listener, man.
We matter.
I'm doing it for you out there.
These are good podcasts.
Check
I
it
support all this.
Yeah.
I agree. So wait, we should listen to, once again, to review TNT with Jesse and Liam.
Yes.
That Fitness Couple with Corrie-Beth and Mike Lupowski.
Nice. Be brave.
Be Brave with Cara and Patty. Time Pop with Ari and Desmond and Scott. Well, he doesn't listen, so I wasn't sure he was actually in it. Back at ish episodes of Popcorn or Bust. What's it called?
Rotten popcorn.
Popcorn.
Yeah. Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Apocalypse Now. And
Apocalypse?
Scott and I have more failed podcasts in this group than anyone else.
Am I the only threefer? I'm the threefer. And then, of course, Desmond's podcast. No big deal. No brags.
And then all the answers with Kath and Katie.
Fine.
Yeah. Scott and I tried so hard to get another podcast going, it didn't work. So finally we decided to bring him in a time pop. Just bring him into it. And the people, I'm going to let him in here real quick so we can get the chaos that we possibly can for a few seconds. This is Justin and Jeremy from Thank the Light, the podcast where we talk about the Wheel of Time book and TV series.
That would interest me a bunch too.
And Fatty the Chef will most likely be celebrating 420.
Happy 420.
What's up, Fatty?
Sorry, I got everyone.
Fatty the Chef.
I just wanted to say that out loud.
Feels good. Mute yourselves if you're into that scene. All right, we got Fatty the Chef. Jeremy, you got to unmute. There it is.
Fatty, talk.
Can you hear me? What about me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Bam.
Thought I was so clever muting everyone so it didn't get too chaotic, and we've caused more chaos. Trying to get everyone to
I missed my, I was playing Cypress Hill when I got here. Let's get high. It's 420. No, none of that. Like always, my production value is shit.
This is everybody. I'm so disappointed that Liam isn't here because this is everybody. Justin and Jeremy, we got Cara and Patty from the Be Brave podcast, Jesse Schmidt from Truth Not Trends, Corrie-Beth and Mike Lupowski from That Fitness Couple, Jeremy, Fatty, and I also star in that. Not that. What's our podcast called?
Thank the Light. Oh, no. Thank the Light. That's right.
These two are longtime fans of the book series, and I am new to the series coming in with the show. So I speak for the
skeptic,
the listener.
The skeptic. Actually, I think I'm the skeptic. Yeah, you're definitely the skeptic. When it comes to the TV show. Oh, I hate you already.
Hey, I know you get Scott on here, but if you got any good poop stories, we're primed.
What? Good poop stories? Well, I just emptied my shitter before we started. Shitter was full. I got my robe on. It's not Christmas time. My name's not Eddie, but
Wait, you have a shitter that you have to empty?
yeah, I live in an RV in a field. It's in the woods. It's pretty cool.
Down by the river.
Yeah, no, not by the river. We're by a lake, though.
What state?
Of confusion.
Washington. I live in practically Canada, but
I did just see that bong.
I did too.
You were not kidding.
No, yeah, we prepared for a lot of bubbles. That's true. I'm not just a fat stoner. It's kind of like what I do for a living. I'm product testing.
You test it? Any recommendations? No, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
So many.
Try them all. That's his recommendation.
No, that's not true. You know what? I actually do. I have a lot of customers that are older. I've had a lot of customers that are battling cancer. And matter of fact, one of our really good regulars is battling cancer right now. And, she comes in for her medicine all the time and helps her deal with the chemo. And so it's good because you're not just a stoner. You get to help people and stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I really love what I do.
Yeah, it's a good medicine, right?
You get to be a professional stoner, but you get to help people too. So it's good.
All right. Well, I'm gonna narrow this down a little bit. I'm sorry, guys. I wish I could keep us all on here, but like I said, this is gonna be an editing
nightmare.
I don't want to say nightmare. It's a shit show.
Opportunity. An opportunity to hone your editing skills.
Just good practice.
And you East Coasters, it's about your bedtime anyways. So
yes. Thank you. It is.
We could pull our kids off the tablets now. Thanks.
Sweet dreams. Thank you very much. It's probably only going to get more R-rated from here out, but
you can count on that.
I will try to make a version of this that we can hopefully maybe put this on all of our feeds and poach some listeners. We're going to steal. That's the point of this. We're going to steal each other's listeners.
Heck yeah. Des, thanks for helping us.
Who do you think you need to make this G-rated for? Hopefully not us.
You've clearly never listened to our podcast.
Is it for the pretty couple?
It won't be. Believe it. I'm already a couple whiskeys deep.
Listen, thank you, Fatty. We have very high standards up here in New York. So,
It shows. You look great.
So far, it's been okay. But when they leave, and we've got an hour left.
Yeah.
Of whatever Katie and Cassidy get into.
Cappy's kicking us out, so you guys could open up the beers and the bong. With that, love you guys.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, I just got off of work, couple whiskeys deep, so it's gonna get a little more blue. So nice to meet you guys.
Nice meeting you. Have a good night.
Nice to meet you guys.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
So they're cousins, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have sex? I was just gonna say kids and cousins. Yeah.
Not anymore.
It's too far.
Because of the podcast, working together, you're like, we should keep it professional.
I'm so like
exactly.
Yeah. Figuratively touch tips only. Theory only.
This is like the After Dark version.
Are you? Is that espresso?
Desmond and I are way for each other than me and Jeremy could ever be.
Yeah.
That's its own podcast.
Justin and I kissed.
Yeah.
With Tom?
If we ever have a podcast, we should have named it the Hetero Life Mates podcast, but we'd be ripping off, But
okay, so for the listeners out there,
Justin and Desmond have kissed.
Justin is, yes, we've been best friends for 25 years, give or take. We were left at home by the third friend that was like, hey, I got to go to work. So I guess you two have to hang out with each other. And
y'all go be best friends and whatnot.
Did I meet you just visiting? I met you just visiting before I moved, right?
And then just look at each other.
They're like, hey, he's here visiting. Hang out with Des and go shoulder tap on the ab for weed.
Little docking.
All right.
Docking.
You were saying, oh, he's leaving. Yeah, we're impossible. Oh.
Hey,
no docking, just tips, just touching tips. No foreskin over here. I didn't start this conversation. My wife's just making a face at me. I'm like, I didn't start this conversation. I jumped right in, though.
About to end this conversation, though.
Oh, ha, Jeremy. Moral high ground.
Yes. He said there's this series called The Wheel of Time that is going to put out a show soon. And I thought, that must have to do with time travel. I'm totally in.
Oops.
Oh, nothing to do. What does it have to do?
No, what happened is I was like, let me tell you about a little story about this show that I used to watch. The TV show's coming out. It's going to be great. I used to read these books. And then I started talking for 30 minutes. His eye rolled back in his head and he's like, well, we could just do a podcast.
You're wasting all of this.
And then I still don't have to listen to you.
Yeah, exactly. Like we can just, this podcast could be called Justin's Monologues. But Jeremy and I, we squeeze occasionally.
Okay, wait, but real quick, because I'm actually sincerely curious. What's the book about? What's the podcast and the book about?
Oh, I think you mean books.
How much time do we have?
You could break it down into a paragraph.
Jeremy?
Yeah, it's a 15-book series.
The actual facts of the series, and then Justin can talk about what it means to his Jedi existence.
Okay, cool. I like it.
That's what it means to my life.
So it's a 15-book series that started in 1990 and ended in 2013. I think the last book came out. It's actually the 10-year anniversary. It's about basically a guy who is just a simple shepherd, finds out he's basically the only person or the savior of the world, and has to unite everybody underneath him. Yeah, you're the chosen one. He's Neo. He finds out he's Neo.
No, Anakin, train the boy.
And then he has to go and fight. I mean, he doesn't turn to the dark side. Well, I guess he kind of does turn. Yeah.
He gets close. There's definitely a redemption arc.
Yeah. So then he has to basically go and unite the world. And then they go fight all the forces of evil and hopefully prevail. It's the hero's journey.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, it's a classic hero's journey for sure.
But there's so many, subtle nuances and, again, 15 books.
Magic and strong women. That's one of the best things is that he writes women really well.
Very well.
And he writes a lot of strong women that are just amazing, actually. So
possible time. Well, there's definitely a time travel element in the books, and I am praying that they do an episode on it. There's a town that they eventually come across where every day.
Yes.
And then by the end of every day, there's just murdered zombie mayhem, no matter what. And then the next morning they all wake up and they do it all over again. And this town just lives in this.
Yep. They sew up their clothes and get back to work. Yeah. A little Groundhog's Day, more murdery.
Okay.
Nice.
So you can do a crossover?
And if you happen to die there during the murder time, you're stuck there.
It's in the books, but it hasn't been addressed in the series yet.
Yes.
It's Groundhog Day with the Purge mixed in.
Oh.
Jesus.
Kinda. More like 28 days later, just rage and just everybody, because there's no,
that's true.
They're not trying to there's no direction. It's like, you were there, murder.
So for you guys, I get that for these guys, the time travel is kind of the essence and the interest point. What is the sort of core interest point of this? Is it the hero's journey aspect of it? What's the core kind of nugget for you guys? Why this series?
I got introduced to the series from this guy and I started reading it, and I'm a Star Wars nerd and the hero's journey is always, but there were so many other things. It wasn't just the hero's journey. You got to see, it was probably one of the first books I read that had many different POVs, or that many. And I is going through them, reading them from the time that I was probably a freshman in high school. So they hit a little harder, and without getting into too much, my family's, they raised really good workers, but you had to figure out who you were as a person. And as silly as it sounds, this bases a lot of who I am as a friend, as a husband, as a dad. It's the qualities that you see in the characters that you love resonated with me a lot, whether it was Rand or Matt or Perrin, just the loyalty that some of them have, and for the shit that they go through for the people that they love is that's who I am at my core. And that's a lot of it is just, that's how I became. And I saw myself in those characters, and I grew up to be certain. I have certain, I think, characteristics of all those characters that are, I try to take the best ones that I admired the most.
That was a really good answer.
So one final thing on Wheel of Time before we just go into time travel, all the madness. The show will hopefully be back soon. Amazon has been taking a terribly long break between season 1 and season 2, and I think we're working our way through books. We're putting on a good show. We talk about the series a lot. If you pay attention and you want to check out season 2, I highly recommend it. If you're having trouble catching up on season 1, there is a fabulous fan edit on Firemerk that boils the series down. It's still a 4.5 hour quote unquote movie, but it's season 2 is out, and I need to watch season 1 real quick. Go watch the Firemerk fan edit of season 1. It'll tell you everything you need to know, and then jump into season 2 and listen to our podcast, and we will give you the deep dive on the Wheel of Time.
I would say, even if you have watched every single episode multiple times like we have, still watch it, because I think the guy did a great job. I mean, it's just outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. Also, there's been a ton of news this week. I feel like we're getting close to getting some news, because
I do too.
I've been seeing some of the actors post shit on the Twitter, and there's a lot of chatter. So hopefully
season 2. All right.
Desmond's like, I want to stop listening to books for like 3 months.
Want to start a book podcast, and I now have a book podcast.
You're welcome.
It's okay. It's part book, mostly Arrested Development jokes.
Oh, is that really all you guys just Arrested Development jokes?
The credit roll. It's great. Like a book, especially 15 books.
Yeah.
They just go on and on. And it's fantastic. I love it, but it's
Do you?
Are they long?
No, not
how long?
Yeah. No, yeah, they're fucking long.
Oh yeah.
40 hours.
Oh my God.
What's like shortest one's like 770?
I think there might be one under 700, but that probably is
books, and they're all around 700 pages.
Yep.
Wow.
If you start reading them now, it's probably like a 2-year commitment. I mean, if you read like almost every single night.
And Cassidy just reminded us that the series wasn't even finished. The author died before the series came out.
Yes, he did.
He knew he was going to die. Well, maybe thankfully or not, I don't know. But he was able to give his notes to this other guy and tell him how he wanted it to, the main points he wanted to connect. And then Brandon Sanderson finished it. And these two gentlemen, they do mixed results, but for them, Justin is really happy the way Brandon Sanderson finished it. Jeremy doesn't hate how Brandon Sanderson finished it, but
I'm a little more hot and cold.
But I think it's Jeremy's opinion.
He really doesn't like it when I'm right.
As Desmond is trying to bridge as the gap between season 1 and season 2 gets longer and longer, we spend more and more time talking about Parks and Rec and Arrested Development. We try to keep it. I think Thank the Light is Ari's nightmare as far as getting off track, because Ari's good at when time pop, when we get off track a little bit.
Oh.
I know you're just like the time is closely off track.
I don't think we have a podcast if we didn't get off track. So,
but you guys always have a really succinct episode about a specific topic and movie and show, right? We're kind of just all over the place.
You start somewhere and then somewhere else.
We might end right back at the same spot, but we have no idea how we got back there.
Especially now that Jeremy's in there, because it's like I spent my young years with Jeremy till, I moved away, 20, and I didn't see him anymore for a long time. And then Desmond, and then now he moved away. And so it's just like, it's real easy to get off track.
Since I haven't read all the books. And so as I'm reading, I'm listening, I'm actually listening to the audiobooks. And so I put bookmarks in it, and then we'll play a 3 or 5 minute snippet from the book. And then that launches into our conversation that sometimes stays around Wheel of Time. But on that note, boys, I'm going to say goodbye to you. I'm sorry. I'm going to finish this up with a nice in-house conversation that will be easy to edit. But any last words on Wheel of Time or podcast?
Listen to the show.
Yeah. Tell your friends about this podcast. We think we're hilarious. So
yes, we do.
We laugh a lot. Hopefully you out there will laugh with us. That's all we can hope. Right, with Fatty, Jeremy, and Desmond.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice meeting you as well.
Nice to meet you.
Good night.
See you guys later. Nice to meet you.
So now we can get the fabric of time, space,
I'm
and
ready.
being.
Well, and
I have a thing, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, go for it.
No, so okay, I've been really excited to get into this with you guys because part of me goes, I have so much to say about this because spirituality, right? What it means to me is like being in the field of conscious awareness. And in the field of conscious awareness, all things are possible. All things. It's the realm of infinite possibility. When we read somebody's records, he's asking me a question that somebody wants to know. I'm like sitting in the realm of infinite possibility where awareness just is. So I'm going to the past and I'm going because they're going, what happened with my grandfather? And then he's going like, well, how does the future work? And what about time? And they're showing it to me. Consciousness talks to all of us all the time. Some of us are just more sensitive and did training so we could hear it a little more clearly. So when I'm in the records, I'm really living in a space where time is not linear. And so he'll ask a question. Inevitably, the answer, and I don't know from my mind, I get from them is you have to think of it this way, not this way.
So now we can get the fabric of time, space,
I'm
and
ready.
being.
Well, and
I have a thing, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, go for it.
No, so, okay, I've been really excited to get into this with you guys because part of me goes, I have so much to say about this because spirituality, right? What it means to me is like being in the field of conscious awareness. And in the field of conscious awareness, all things are possible. All things. It's the realm of infinite possibility. When we read somebody's records, he's asking me a question that somebody wants to know. I'm like sitting in the realm of infinite possibility where awareness just is. So I'm going to the past and I'm going because they're going, what happened with my grandfather? And then he's going like, well, how does the future work? And what about time? And they're showing it to me. Consciousness talks to all of us all the time. Some of us are just more sensitive and did training so we could hear it a little more clearly. So when I'm in the records, I'm really living in a space where time is not linear. And so he'll ask a question. Inevitably, the answer, and I don't know from my mind, I get from them is you have to think of it this way, not this way. And it's always about layers and levels and spirals and past is future and future is now. And it's all one thing. So I've been like, we all need to be talking about this because to me, it's the same thing. People think spirituality means like, I talk like this and wind and fairies. And we talk very much about, no, it's fucking not that. It's consciousness. It's the realm of infinite possibility from which all healing can occur and does. So it makes me curious for you guys, because I know you guys aren't as woo as you're not like spiritual people. You're like funny people who like time travel. But like, what
That's our tagline.
Hey,
funny people who like time travel.
Time pop. Hey.
But you know what I mean? Like it's not, we wouldn't use the same language to describe how we see reality.
Yes.
But if you're interested in time travel, what I know from my soul is you're interested in spirituality. You just don't call it that. So I want to know from your language, what is it that hooks you about why time travel? Because it's fucking consciousness.
That's a really good question.
That's really interesting. And I will say that right off the bat, I know that Scott considers himself very spiritual.
Okay.
I know that you do. You like to think of yourself as being open and conscious, and you feel things, and he's had experiences where he's like known things when he shouldn't, or so I know that you do consider yourself spiritual. On the complete opposite end of that, I am not at all.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, what interests me so much about time travel is the physics, is the loopholes and how you would figure it out. It's almost mathematical for me.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm drawn to the math and the science and the physics of time travel. But there is this element that we constantly bring up on our show is
the unknown
force that drives the time travel, and it's always what we call love and gravity.
Right.
So gravity is the like math part of it, but then what we call love.
Right.
What is that?
That's what I'm saying.
But I feel like you're still looking for like magic from science. Right?
Oh, I believe that
it's like scientifically this beautiful, magical, unexplainable thing can occur, right?
Right.
Well, what's fun is that like the math of it, and since it's all hypotheticals, the math doesn't add up.
Right.
And so this movie is trying to tell us that 2 + 2 is 5.
Yeah.
And we're like, no.
You
know,
mean
with-
any given time travel movie? Or
Yes.
You mean okay.
In a movie, they're trying to, because again, it's not.
They have to break something in order, or they have to break some 3D reality that we have thought we agreed upon.
Or they'll even introduce a law or a rule that they then have to break in order to make the love story make sense at the end of it.
There's the math and science up to a point, and then because it is theoretical, there's something else beyond where the math stops.
Totally.
Well, look at your
what is
theoretical
that?
physicists.
Right?
So many theoretical physicists are super woo-woo at a certain point, because that's where those things meet. They meet in the quantum realm. This like well,
quantum.
When you get down to that thing, there's that moment where you're like, well. Why does it work? Because it does. Why does time shorten when you're going faster?
Right.
Because relativity.
Yeah.
And, but at a certain point, like that theory in itself, it could just be another word for
Well, it was like-
the
Have you seen-
ether or the fucking.
Yeah, well, I was raised by, a super empiricist scientist
Really?
dad. Oh, yeah.
wow,
I come
okay.
from
Yeah.
the most Jewy mental.
Hello. Hello.
All of us
Okay.
together as one.
Splitting atoms today.
Science, and he's the CEO of a pulmonary research institute, PhD, genetics was my childhood. I'm in science.
Very science-minded.
Yeah. And there would come points, I was the kind of kid who, when I was 8, I was asking questions. We go, why? And then why? And then why? And we get to a place and I go, why? And he'd go, well, we don't know.
Mm.
And every conversation I would have with him ended with, well, we don't know. And I always had this sense, this is where science people can't join me, and I get it because it's felt and it's in the being. It's not in the mind. It's beyond the mind, I think. That I was 8 listening to him going oh, I know why. Because consciousness did it. And then I set out my life's journey was I'm going to figure out what is in there. What's in the why? What is after the math and the
After
love?
the math.
Then what? And that's my whole life is sitting in that space. But you can't really talk about it without.
Have you guys seen or read Contact? Right? The movie?
Obsessed.
So
of course.
where time travel and religion met at the same place.
I would say spirituality.
Spirituality, sure. Thank you. I mean, in the movie they use religion, unfortunately.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah, love that.
But
Love
spirituality, but the idea of outside time and space, this place where they both have to have faith and they both meet.
Right, and it's the heart.
Really unique, right?
And it's
love.
It's love. It's her love
And it's
of her dad.
unexplainable. It's like you trying to explain
What I see.
because she basically goes back and she's like, words.
Well,
How do I
that's-
use words for this?
This is my next question is I'm very curious as to when you are experiencing something in the past, something in the future, what's it like, right? I want to know tangibly, scientifically, mathematically, what are you seeing, experiencing, smelling, tasting, feeling like?
I could tell you.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
Do it.
Okay.
What's it like?
Did you have a joke?
No.
I felt a punchline there. Okay, here's my experience of it because I love this question.
Yeah.
I love this question. Because it's the answer to everything we're talking about. It's literally the answer. Okay, so let's say if the
Would you say
fabric,
it's all
the answers.
Heyo.
Whatssoundsawesome.com. The fabric of time space, if you think of it it's just space, it's just empty conscious awareness. So awareness is just aware of itself. There's a field infinitely of awareness, and it right now is taking the form of this table and this thing and you and me and sounds and whatever. So when you merge your inner experience, yourself, your essence with that realm, the realm of infinite consciousness, the past and the future feel exactly the same. They just feel like silent, peaceful oneness.
So you're saying that the past and the future and possibly the present are all happening at the same exact time?
Correct.
So Scott right now is very happy.
I have a very distinct theory,
Yeah.
For me, all time has happened, will happen, is happening, and it's all happening at the same time. And I kind of think of it like radio frequencies. Like if you're tuning in right now to a certain station, right now it's 1955 here, right now it's 2041, and they're all kind of frequencies, and it's all happened and has still free will, but it's all happened and has happened and will happen and did happen.
100%. And the woo-woo people now, the woo-woo people who for all eternity have been reincarnation and then next, and then this linear idea of reincarnation, even now those people have expanded past, and now the conversation is about, oh shit, when I'm clearing a past life in a healing session for someone, depending on who's asking and what they want to know, it's right now. We're clearing it now. It happened then, but then is now. And woo-woo people understand this now. Yeah. They didn't. They used to be linear about reincarnation 4 lifetimes ago. And now we're all like 4 lifetimes ago.
In another lifetime.
Yeah, in another dimensional plane that we call the past in our linear way of thinking. This happened and that's why your arm hurts all the time. So I'll clear that past life thing for them. And then they're like, what? My fucking arm works again. And I'm like, yeah, it's a fucking
So really the word past life is maybe a misnomer.
It's a misnomer. I mean, it is and it isn't. Because
you could put a date on it.
Former life.
Well, we are experiencing, we in the human form, because we do live in 3D reality, we are experiencing time linearly. Yesterday was before, and this is now, right? We are experiencing it that way. However, beyond the 3D form, which we actually have access to, beyond the 3D form, it's all right now and then and here and now and all in one. So they're both happening.
Yeah. And if you're into past lifetimes, check out Thank the Light. The Wheel of Time is all about past lives because it's all about the dragon reborn. And the main character is a reborn incarnation of a past
wizard.
What they will basically
a wizard, yeah.
Basically, they call him the dragon, but he's not a real dragon. And that's where the Wheel of Time is all of our lives woven together. It's not a wheel like a water wheel, it's a wheel like
it's a spinning wheel,
a
knitting wheel,
weaving wheel, or
weaving
spinning
wheel.
wheel, or all that time. And it's constantly.
I'll be honest, it's not the greatest title.
No.
The Wheel of Time?
Yeah. Because it is about knitting, a knitting wheel.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with
it comes around.
Yeah, so it's a knitting wheel because the threads are your
your
time.
So it's a spinning wheel as opposed to a cycle.
Yes.
I don't know what a spinning wheel is. What does that mean?
You know, like Cinderella pricked her finger on a spinning wheel. That thing. When you make yarn, it used to spin and it would stretch out the things, and there was
Okay.
Okay.
But why is that then not a good name for the book?
Well,
because we assume when we hear Wheel of Time, we think
like a wheel like this.
The cycle.
Or
you're hoping it's this
clock,
bitter cosmic.
Right.
But they're just talking about threads.
of
you're hoping it's
of
larger
time.
than
Life. It's
okay. It's more 3D than 5D kind of deal.
The opening credits is them weaving a rug together. That's what the opening credits is. It's all these inner workings, and then they pull back.
So it's misleading, the title. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
the wheel weaves as the wheel wills.
Right. And if you read the book, I'm sure it makes total sense. But to someone who doesn't.
Yeah, like when I heard it, I was like, "Oh, this is obviously time travel."
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's gonna have a time
element.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are your guys' favorite time travel story movies? Movies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you putting up the top 10? We made a top 10.
I want to hear but I hope that they disagree. Like
we did disagree.
Oh,
he's bringing it up right now.
Well, we agree.
Look, there's our list.
A lot.
So Orange Scott, your favorite?
Oh, Interstellar's number 1.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I'm
into all the fucking time travel movies.
The gravity aspect, the fact when he goes on the planet and every tick that you even hear in the soundtrack is like a day of his life. Every second. What is it? Is it every second is a few hours? Every second is an hour or a day. Every second is a day that he spends down there. And then it ends up being this great paradox that is like scientific where he can be younger than his daughter when he goes back.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he's on that planet where gravity is stronger and time goes by quicker.
Right.
So it's very scientific.
Yeah.
It's the most scientifically accurate time travel movie, but then there's this element
But then he goes
of
through.
love.
Yeah. When he's in the wall.
Yeah, the wormhole, and then he ends
what
up
draws him to
gravity
that
and
point with his daughter?
Right.
Yeah.
What drives what's her name, the main woman, to want to visit that planet where she knows her lover is probably dead, but it's love.
Yeah.
And then that is where they needed to go. That ultimately was the planet that was going to save them.
Right.
So
yeah, I love
it's that unknown.
Okay.
I think I really like the idea. Our show is where we're trying to stretch our brains. Obviously time's a construct. That's what we understand. And we're trying to think outside of what we're capable of thinking.
Yeah, that's what
trying to stretch our brains for things that we can't comprehend is. I like it. I like feeling.
Same.
Trying.
For me, it's I destroyed the brain. I've obliterated the brain. There's no stretching the brain. It's gone. Now there's just awareness of what is.
Right.
So you're just sitting in the space where math ends and love becomes the answer to math. That was the whole goal.
Yeah.
No big deal.
It's a big deal.
We went from poop. We went to poop to the fabric of everything.
Well, that's what we do.
That's the
whole essence of
That's
it.
the wheel of our time. We're going to change our
That's all the
podcast
answers,
to the wheel of time.
The wheel of poop.
So Back to the Future is number 2 for Scott.
Just as a classic,
Okay.
you know.
So
What
it's
is
Ari
your
loves
favorite?
Tenet, which was
I do
a
too.
movie got slammed. People just wrote
Really?
that movie
Really?
off.
It's
It took me a
genius.
while to
Really?
watch. It took
Which
me
one?
like
I've never seen
had
it.
to watch it in like 3 sittings.
I need to see it.
The first time you see it, you're like, I don't know what the fuck is
It's a
happening. in this
Christopher
film.
Nolan movie.
It's
which
Christopher
is
Nolan. It's a slow burn. You might, yeah.
It's well made. So
And
it's a
then
good
when
watch.
for me, I had to research it, and I was like, oh, the entire film is what do you call it? The
Palindrome.
It's a palindrome.
Ooh.
The characters are palindrome. The context of the film is a palindrome because you can move forward and backwards in time,
Whoa.
and they're just.
Well, don't give it away.
I can't wait.
It's a mind
Yeah.
fuck.
The name is
Yeah.
a palindrome?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're watching the same scene and you know it's going one way and another, and you're just trying to think,
Oh, I can't
it stretches
wait.
the brain.
Oh, I'm ready.
But the first time, it's a film that needs a time, research, and then seeing it again. Yeah.
Okay,
So let me just say one thing about this list.
Yeah.
We just set out for ourselves, we're going to make a top 10 list. We didn't make any criteria. We didn't say it has to be the movies that are the best time travel or the movies that are just our favorite or the highest quality movies. We just said we blanket out there. What's your favorite? So we all have different reasons for different.
Oh, I love it.
Order of things.
That makes it more human and
Yes.
fun.
But-
Edge of Tomorrow is way higher on my list. I put that way up
It's
there.
a very good movie.
It's
Where's
so
the
good.
earliest?
The Tom Cruise one?
It's at
Yeah.
12 for you guys.
That's
Yeah.
mine. Yeah, it's the first showing of it. That's weird.
I love that.
I'm a
didn't
big
even-
fan of 12 Monkeys. I
Yeah.
love the whole.
I'm the only one with that in the top 10. Crazy.
But have you seen the
Yeah,
original
Lejeté.
Lejeté?
Yeah.
I mean, have you
Yeah.
seen
Yes.
Then you don't know 12 Monkeys. Clearly.
That movie
I do
is
love-
the most French thing I've ever seen in my life.
The Terminator is a nice old school time
Yeah,
travel.
that's. I
You know
almost
what
didn't put it in, but it's the classic.
Yeah.
You have to. Yeah.
I think we kind of really enjoy the paradoxes too. I mean, we try to find films that don't have the loopholes that actually make sense that we can't find fault with.
Yeah,
That's
Terminator
rare.
is pretty good.
Well, no, it's got a lot of issues.
It does. Like, what are we talking about? Tell me.
Well,
Scientifically.
scientifically,
Oh.
it has to have
Okay.
happened.
Yeah.
They make it like they could stop the future, but they've always gone back to make him, which made it happen. It's a
Oh.
cause and effect.
I see.
Right. They could have
So
mid
it
that
doesn't make any
robot
sense.
so that robot wouldn't have
And
existed.
they keep something back earlier, but they've always done it that way. So it's not like you can't outthink what's going on there. You know what I mean? It's
Nope.
not linear. Oh.
No,
They
because
treat it like it's
create
linear.
New realities.
They're treating it like
Yeah.
it's linear, but if you follow the
logic
of
train,
it is
doesn't
not
track.
linear. It's a loop.
I get
and
it.
it's always happened that way.
I get that the logic train doesn't track. That's all I need to get.
Yeah,
I don't care.
got it. Get it? Don't care.
With all the movies that we've done, there aren't too many stories that talk about all time happening at the same time.
Huh.
And it's a
Yeah.
really, really interesting concept.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The few that I can think of are the character in The Watchmen.
Yep.
That's like the main one. Have you seen The
Oh,
Watchmen?
Captain.
No.
or Miss-
No, Captain
The
Dr.
Watchmen.
Midnight.
Dr.
The
Manhattan.
character in Men
Dr.
in Black
Manhattan.
3.
The character in Men in Black 3.
Oh,
So-
I did see The Watchmen.
Yeah.
A
Remember the blue
long
guy with the dong
time ago.
hanging out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He experiences all time
Yes.
happening.
Same time.
He's
at the
breaking
same
up with a
time.
woman. He's like, right now, I'm seeing us when we're first getting together, and I see us fighting years from now.
Yeah, I
and it's-
remember that now.
All at
And
the
he feels
same
nothing
time.
because he's so removed.
That's it.
Which is exactly sounds like it's
What I'm
exactly what,
saying.
you experience.
Okay, now let me throw this at you.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? Okay, so part of what, if you think about the answer to the question is the perspective is it's almost like perspective is the only limitation.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
Nice.
yeah, because if you have a point of view from one place in time space, you can only see from that point of view. But if you become time space, you have all points of view from there is no one vantage point from which you're looking. So then you have every possibility everywhere. And then you understand, oh, that's how time can be simultaneous. That's how all time is simultaneous because I'm not looking from a point of view.
But can you even digest it if you're just seeing? I mean, you have to focus on something. Like when you're in the Akashic records, like you have to focus on something.
Yeah.
Just to
ground
to answer a question.
Yeah, instead of taking it all in at once.
Well, and sometimes you have trouble with like, how do I put words that don't exist to this concept that I fully
visual.
understand in my heart, but
Because
I
you
don't
can
know.
grok it in your being, but then you're like, words, you know.
Yeah.
But to see, that's what I was saying to them before is that when you
merge into the field of infinite possibility. You're not like seeing all the things all at once. It's not like overwhelmed because things get obliterated in that space. It's just space. Things are just space closer together. Things are just molecules moving closer together faster, right? Space is just molecules moving farther apart from each other and slower, I guess. I'm not even sure about fast and slow, but my point is,
I mean, scientifically, I answer that, but you keep going.
Well, yes, let's do that. Because whatever the difference is between the wind in this room and this microphone is really just molecules moving, density of molecules and speed at which they're moving. So if you, like, you could say, like, dissolve yourself into the field of infinite everything oneness, there's no more things. There's just love, honestly. The first time I experienced it was like the most profound moment of my life. What?
I was going to say probably no gravity.
No gravity at all. And I can talk about that.
Just love.
Definitely talk about that.
Yeah, no gravity. This is like a story I wrote an entire solo show about because it was so profound to me. I was like, I have to tell all the people. And then everybody's like, that was funny. I'm like, no.
I didn't mean it to be just funny.
To tell you about the time space.
So I'm a molecule and I'm floating in the air.
I'm a molecule.
You're a molecule. You, sir, you're a big molecule.
Okay, I'll tell you this from the very human perspective, because love is the whole. Okay.
Well, that's why we always talk about. Mostly me is there's love and gravity. That is what drives time travel.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Well, I'm curious why you came up with the idea of love. Like, what drove you as a supposedly non-spiritual person?
Yeah,
it's Interstellar.
Watching those.
Yeah, Interstellar was the main one. I don't know if they actually say that quote.
They
in the
don't.
Movie. Okay.
We've forced that quote onto multiple.
It's my own thing. There's actually a book called Love and Gravity, but it's about other things.
Yeah.
So what was the question?
No, so what I was going to say is the moment I first experienced it proves the point of love and gravity.
Okay, great.
And it shows how gravity goes bye-bye in the field of infinite oneness. Okay, so I was in a small group in my healing school, the first healing school, the Sufi one. And you're talking about your trauma. You're like, it hurts because my mom, or whatever your thing is in that moment. You have all this heaviness here, or wherever your heaviness is. And I was in the group and we had a TA. Each small group had a guy who had been on the path a long ass time, who was like good at doing this thing I'm describing for you, dissolving into the space of infinite oneness. So I'm in the group and I'm going, my problems and this and my pain and my dad and I've got it all analyzed and figured out, how do I change the pain though? And I'm asking and I don't understand and I'm talking and I'm asking and analyzing and everybody's tired, And at one point, Amin, this guy's name was Amin, he said to me, Katie, he goes, just feel this real quick. And then he closed his eyes and he traveled through his heart into what we call in the Sufi path, the unity. And it pulled me there real fast. He just energetically, he said, close your eyes. And then he just like went in there. And it pulled me there for the first time. I hadn't been there before. And the experience of it was like, so I was out here in 3D, right? Before he pulled me in. And there was all this pain and tightness and ideas about how am I going to fix it and all that. Analyzing and crying. And then he like pulled me back through the portal of my heart. And I like went through all these layers of density and things kept getting lighter and lighter and lighter. And then all of a sudden it's like I can only talk about it with my eyes closed because there was no seeing or hearing or feeling, but there was total pure awareness. And what was I aware of? I was aware that I was in, but I was the sea of infinite love. So there was infinite love all around me, but my body was infinite love and my thoughts, there was no individuated me anymore. But I was still able to witness from some kind of perspective the infiniteness of what I was swimming in. If you imagine your whole body is permeated with love, every cell of your body is just love, and there's no more body. There's just love. And then, so I'm in there and I'm like, oh, and I'm saying that with my mouth back over here in 3D reality. And I'm like aware of how there is nothing, but then over there, my mouth is doing this thing where all the pain is. And then I hear him over there and he goes, you see? And I go, the ocean. And then I went, whoop, and he pulled me back. And then I said, hold on, I'll explain. I said, That's all I've ever wanted. That's all I've ever needed. That answers all the questions I've ever had. But I said, how am I going to go back? How do I go back? Which is what they're always talking about in these movies. How do we go back? How do we get home? How do we go there? How do we get away? But then when we're away, we want to go home. Anyway, it was like, how am I going to, in my life, go there? I need this. It's the answer. It's the water of the love is my being. How am I going to go? And he was like, that's why we do the practices. The practices are so you yourself, you don't need me to energetically expand time space for you, pull you into the love vortex. You can do it yourself. And so I got real fucking dedicated to those fucking practices because I was like, I'm going to find a way to be there anytime I fucking want.
It's like Doctor Strange style.
So would you say that when you were pulled into that the space, you would say that there was no gravity? That felt like there was no gravity? Okay.
Because there was no separation.
Is there no ego?
There's no separation.
So it's a big collective infinite. And then we come from that to form our own little egos, but kind of rejoin each other and get back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. We're talking about the whole everything.
Yes.
We come from a big collective everything. We go into our little worlds, but we try to connect with other people. And
for the sake of knowing that space.
And there was still just enough of a grain of you to be able to go, like back in the little tube.
There was like, but I would say it was like the witnessing, the individuated witness consciousness was still present, but there was no Katie Rubin who was, for gravity to exist, you have to have separation. You have to have two objects that are in relationship to each other.
Correct.
So if all the objects dissolve into light, there's no tension. There's no up
There's
down.
no matter. You have to have matter and gravity.
Yeah.
My next question is when you open the record and go into the space, is that the space you go into? Is that the same, the place he pulled you into, is that the same place you go into to get the answers where you see both past, present, and future?
I hear what you're saying. I'm just trying to get an answer to that. Not exactly.
Not exactly.
Because that's a particularly deep, that's like a particular space. But it's similar to that. It's like I'm tapping into, so if you imagine that your essence, whatever that means to anybody, right? Your soul, you could say, if you're that type of inclined person, your essence is not a thing you can touch. It's energetic, right? So what I do in the records through intention and prayer is just get into your essence. And your essence is an individuated witnessing I that also lives within the realm of the sea of love.
Okay.
So if I merge into your soul and then I go, hey, I am necessarily, because of what souls are, or you could say essences are, I'm necessarily in the sea of conscious awareness. So then I can expand past that inside there and all the answers are there.
But there's still more, you're not obliterated like you were. You're more obliterated in that other thing.
Although you see me, sometimes I come out like,
oh yeah, I mean, you
obliterated.
Yeah. Blitzed, maybe a little bit.
But not as
spirit
fully.
drunk.
Like that place is, they call it the unity. There's these layers of consciousness in, which is really interesting with regard to time travel. But the layers of consciousness, you get there through your heart in the Sufi way of looking. And there's the Mulk realm, which is here, 3D. And then there's the Malakut, Jabarut, Lahut, and the unity. And each of them you could think of them as...
Duh.
We all knew that, Katie. Thanks for mansplaining that.
That's like 4th grade education, right?
Spirits.
Ben Franklin and that.
You could think of each layer getting lighter and lighter and lighter and having less and less gravity and becoming just the infinite realm. But what we have to understand is these are realms of conscious awareness that you access through the love chakra, through the heart, which is why love is the thing.
Yeah.
Because you can't travel through time space without love.
Yeah.
I will say that I think movies tend to use 3-dimensional love more because it's my love of being able to touch God
you here
that keeps me
But what is
from that
what
realm.
is love?
Right.
It's a really strong feeling, a strong connection, a powerful.
But if that was true, if you truly believe that, then you wouldn't think that the only answer to be with someone is to be on the physical realm where you can touch them.
But that's only if you understood what you understand.
Yeah.
That's a different love.
Most
That's
people
like
don't
the
understand.
deeper-
Yeah.
That's what I'm just saying. I think
any of
movies
that.
use.
Because it's the only one they can use
Yeah.
that people hear. Yeah.
I see what you're
Most
saying.
people, most people don't spend hours trying to choose.
I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once started to touch on that other version of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the problem that happens when you start to touch on the version of that is you go to that space of you explain it, but it's not a totally, quote, satisfying explanation because our conceptual selves still are attaching but what? Well, then how does, because we haven't experienced it.
Right, exactly.
It's hard to think outside.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Most time travel movies do the story where it's one timeline, they go back, they change something, and then they come back to the present and it's everything's been changed. Right. So in relation to you going into, do you call it the Akash? I'm going to say it wrong. Akashic records.
I don't call it that. That's what it's called.
Okay.
She calls it
not
Palace.
you specifically. You as a everybody.
Yeah,
it.
That is what it's called.
When you go into it and you see the past and you talk about clearing past pain, is that considered changing the past?
Oh, for you, apparently.
Because in your opinion, the stories of okay, I'm going to go in the past, change something, and come back to the present. What does that mean to you in relation to?
Hold on.
It's all together though, right? It's something.
So
I don't think I understand the question yet, but I'm ready to.
So let's say there's a past life that is being cleared to help your present pain. Does anything you do change the past life?
Change the present.
It's just
change the present. She's asking, right?
Well,
but if
they're all happening at the same time, right?
You know the theory of
I can say words about this if you want, but I think you're asking.
I'm kind of putting words in your mouth, but I thought it might be on the side.
I'm honestly just curious about Katie's opinion on that story in relation to what you have experienced.
Right.
Does it change anything between the 2 points?
The timeline story.
Because what Katie has experienced supports the theory that all time is happening all at once.
Okay.
Right? But there's other theories of it's one timeline, narrative theories. There's one timeline, and if you change something, it's going to change the present. So I'm just curious, as someone...
If you clear a past...
Yeah, as someone who has experienced it...
I hear you.
Yeah.
Here's what I'd say.
That's linear, though.
It's interesting because... I'll talk about what does happen, and then I'll talk about the theoretical idea that you're talking about what could happen or should happen, maybe.
If it's linear.
And then we will find the paradox.
It's only if it's linear.
That's right. You're right.
But you kind of are going back in time. When you clear somebody's pain, you're going back in time.
That's what I'm saying.
And you're changing their present.
Correct.
She's kind of time traveling.
That's why I'm interested. That's what I'm saying. That's why I've wanted to talk to you.
But the past self and the now are at the same time, though. So she's...
But can I just say words? Okay.
Please.
So if you have a past life where I'll give you the most outlandish thing I've ever seen, and I see it all day. There's all kinds of weird shit that goes on. My favorite one was a girl I know. She held grudges all the time, always with the grudges, and she was did all her spiritual work and had processed her anger at her mom and been to therapy, and she understood she shouldn't hold grudges. Couldn't let go of her grudges. Usually people come to me when they have a thing where they've done everything normal and they've hit the fucking wall and ketamine didn't do it and nothing fucking does it. And they go, I have nothing left. And what do you got, woo-woo lady? She came to me, she said grudges. I go, okay, I do what I always do. I go, okay, show me, take us energetically to the place where this began. And then I get an awareness, oh, this was a past life. Okay, show me the past life. They show me the past life. In this case, so dumb. She's on one side of a river in a past life. I'm going to answer the question by telling you.
Yeah, please. So dumb. Your past life. So dumb. No offense, but it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I'll heal you, but
wait till you hear it, how dumb it is.
Yeah.
She's on one side of a river, and across the river, there's a hunter who's pointing a rifle at her. And then the perspective shifts, and I see she's a deer. Mm-hmm. She's just there as a deer, and this hunter is and it's all happening in slow motion, and the hunter shoots her between the eyes, and as the bullet is coming, she's like, fuck you forever. I'll never forgive you. Poof. And then she dies. And when you go, fuck you forever, I'll never forgive you, in the moment of your death, it's not the best choice.
You wrote a contract.
Yeah, you wrote a contract. Now you're going to show up next place in any number of manifestations. It doesn't have to show up like grudges. For her, in this incarnation, in this lifetime, it was grudges, because she was holding a grudge, this deer, against this hunter. So I go into the energy of the moment in time, because they show it to me and they slow it down and they go right here. And I go, cool. And we just bring our attention there, AKA bring love to it through the divine light. Love hits it, the divine light hits it, and then dissolves it So as if the moment never happened. But it's not that the moment never happened. It's that the pain,
the feeling behind it,
the pain and the emotion you held on to in the moment dissolves.
Okay.
So the moment may still have happened.
Yeah.
It's more that your reaction to it is released.
You don't clear
time. She doesn't
event.
change time. She's changed.
Right.
The
You didn't go back and
response.
kill
You're
Hitler.
still changing something.
Correct.
You still went back in time.
Correct. And
Yeah.
change something.
And changed something.
So to answer your question, it doesn't change now everything about ecom, this girl's life right now. Like, and then this guy dies in the past and all things are fucked up.
right, like a movie would show.
Like a movie would show.
Yeah.
But what
Yeah.
it does do is all of a sudden, no grudges ever again.
Wait, I want to piggyback on this. Wasn't my question, but now in going with what you're asking her, if the trauma wasn't a thing where the person had died, if it was a traumatic experience that did not follow death, and you cleared in that moment that person's life after, would they be walking around after that with the emotional clearing?
In that
And
lifetime?
therefore, in that
Yeah.
lifetime. And theoretically, that's what she's asking. Would that have changed that person's course if you had cleared a trauma and they kept on going?
I would go with no, because here's why. Because of perspective. Because it doesn't matter. In other words, her perspective is now.
Right.
But all time is happening all
All the time. That's what.
Because remember, the
That was my
only
first
thing
thought.
making gravity and making separation difference that then creates gravity. Matter is separation of energies.
Right.
The only thing creating that is your perspective.
Right.
There's a you having a perspective.
Yes.
So there is no her in the past. To her, there's only her perspective now.
Right.
So I can go back in the records and look at her perspective then, but
Because it's happening with her then.
And what creates your perspective?
But
Gravity.
But what's the
Her
yes?
I would agree.
No, it's gravity
Yeah,
because gravity is because the only thing that gravity changes is your time, such as the water planet in Interstellar.
Right.
It's
And time
because of the
linear.
gravity that time travels differently. So love is the
anti-gravity.
anti-time. There is no time. There's only love. And then gravity is the anchor that you're on. It's
Right.
giving you
And
your
so
perspective
ego would
in
be
this moment.
like the human psychological version of gravity.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have an image, and tell me,
Yeah.
it's and what I'm seeing in this narrative of the deer and the stuff,
Yeah.
and what you're doing, maybe, and I may be completely off base. It's less about like you're going back and going, this didn't happen or whatever. So you're not saying this didn't happen,
Right.
Yeah.
so it doesn't change
clearly-
the movement on that timeline.
Right.
You're it's what I have this image of, like I have this thread that's tying me to that moment.
Right.
And what you're doing is like cleaning that thread.
Taking it out. Yeah.
And it's right. You're not going back here and going, this isn't
However-
happening. And so now they're going to travel through that timeline
Yeah.
differently.
But a new big thing in the whole consciousness realm is timeline hopping. So
Right.
everybody's
Yeah.
into hopping timelines now.
That's some quantum physics shit right there.
And
that's
you can
popping
do
a
it.
cliff. Everything that happens.
That's another big theory
Okay.
for us.
And that's not
Whoa.
time
Whoa,
long.
whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
Whoa.
So timeline meaning
Every moment is infinite possibility, alternate timelines.
so there's past lives in one timeline. So in my timeline, I have potentially past lives,
Okay.
but there's myself in another timeline.
Yeah.
So when you talk about timelines in the scientific physics time
Yeah.
travel world, that's because you made a decision, the different decisions, right?
Oh.
Every major decision splits you off into different timelines.
Sure.
That's how I know
Different possibilities
different
from that.
Yeah.
possibilities.
But imagine you could, okay, so if everything is energy, this is just denser energy than this air here.
Right.
Hopping a timeline is really just about choosing to take a different perspective.
Yeah.
So it's like a dimension.
Kind of.
That's
yeah.
the word. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Dimension.
Not timeline.
Have you guys watched The Peripheral yet?
No, what's that?
Oh, you guys absolutely should be watching Peripheral.
Is it a TV show?
It's a TV show.
Yeah.
I think it's on Amazon.
What's it about?
Well, it's based on a what's his name?
Louis Gossett
William
Jr.
Gibson.
Okay.
On a William Gibson
Ooh.
novel, one of his more recent ones.
Never
And they
mind,
do
sir.
this thing where they go back and they use what they call stubs. They use they create timelines for them to do shit in. It's kind of messed up. So they go back and they go like, I need a stub to create, to make something happen. And they And they go into like
that's
cause these little timeline stubs to occur.
That's good.
They go back and mess
They
with
call
it.
them stubs because those timelines
I
end.
think they end. That's unclear. I haven't watched the whole thing. And I tried to read it.
That's different.
It's really hard to grasp. It is.
That's our favorite.
Yes.
It is super hard to grasp, but I would check it out. And,
Yeah.
it's one of those where they're going back and messing with.
Is the pilot a solid?
They're like, so
first
people
episode?
in this are like suddenly having situations where they're being communicated with people in the future, but they're doing it through they're giving them a VR situation where they're actually pulling people
wonder
from the
Cassie
past
noticed it.
into the future to exist in a
Oh, is
VR
this the
state
one-
in a robot body in the present, which is the future. It's
Ooh,
messy.
wow! I'm so.
But it's all about
What's it called?
timeline. It's
the peripheral.
It's called Peripheral or The Peripheral.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Is the acting
Yeah.
and the writing good?
Yeah, solid.
Okay.
It's the girl from Kick-Ass. What's her name?
Yeah.
For you, is it all time has happened? Is happening?
Here's what I know. When I'm in that space,
Yeah.
like out here chatting with you guys, I can kind of have a big open mind, so I can get into whatever. I'm
Yeah.
like, maybe not. I don't
Sure.
fucking know. But what I can tell you in reporting back from going there all the time,
Yeah.
and from how I now feel from here down, it's constantly in that place.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
That's cool.
when people, let's say
The
we're
head, the ego.
asking the Akashic record something, right? And often there is some future stuff. I think about the Callum one where you were like, "Here's where you're going to be." Like,
Well,
there's some future.
it's possible.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I want to ask about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's choice, but we're
I have
saying
an answer.
And this, we're saying it's choice, but I'm saying my theory, which whatever if it's true or not, but like the fact that there is free will, but we've already made that decision, and like we're always making that decision, but it was free will, but it's happened, is happening, has always happened. And that's what I'm just curious.
But there's infinite possibility in every moment.
Right.
But
if it's all already happened,
he thinks time. It's happenings. He thinks
It's happening.
Yeah. He thinks that
What is
time happens. It's always happened the way it's happened. It's all happening at the same time, and then it starts over and does it
Well,
exactly
not starts over
the
because I
same
can't.
way.
It's not a circle, but it's
No, but
It's not a wheel of time.
It does. It
but there's no. I can't think of a beginning. It doesn't make sense to be linear. It's like it just started one day. What was there before the start?
Yeah.
Something's there. It
He
doesn't
thinks
end.
it's like-
It can't
But
be
that's even
linear.
still too linear.
Yeah, no,
there's a
that's-
linearity to that. Yeah,
Right.
it's more multidimensional than that.
Totally. That's what I'm trying to get.
If I say to Callum, he goes, "Where should I go?"
Yeah.
They show me, and he goes, "I want forest, and I want this, and I want out of the city." And they go, "Wyoming." Boom.
But has that already happened and he's decided it?
No,
Okay.
he has a choice.
Yes, he does have a choice. But if all time has happened, hasn't he maybe made that choice already?
Maybe, but that's
the-
not relevant to the present moment.
Right.
It's not relevant.
In the present moment, he's making that choice.
Right.
I'm just saying
That's why the infinite timeline.
I'm saying he has
thing
made
also
that choice
exists because every choice
Like,
creates a new
when
version
people
of
say,
itself.
"What
And
am I
that's
going to
going
be doing?" and blah blah blah, I'm always like, "Oh Christ!"
You're on
Well,
a cruise boat. You're married.
No, it's
you're-
because right now, from this perspective, in this moment, with what you're looking at and what you're thinking about and what you want, it's this.
Yeah.
But go like this for 20 seconds and then you'll have a new question for me.
Yeah.
And then it'll be like, well, now it's this. Because it's all how you're looking and what you're looking from.
So you are approaching it from a myriad of possibilities, every decision into multiple possibilities and dimension, and it hasn't officially happened yet.
it's like I explained it to Cormac the other day when I was explaining to him in soccer, because he's always getting frustrated when he's in soccer because coaches tell him to do something, and then 30 seconds later the coach is yelling at him for doing that because the perspective is always changing. When the ball was there, we needed you to go that direction, but then someone kicked the ball over here.
Right.
Now you're going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And every time that ball rolls 6 inches,
okay.
you got to change your perspective.
Yeah, it's so interesting because there's a paradox inside of this that I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm all about paradoxes
Oh,
too.
we are too.
love paradoxes. I know. This is why we have to talk to each other.
Yeah, literally.
The paradox of everything is written and you have free will.
Yes. Which
Yeah,
I believe both
that's
of those
what
are true.
drives me batty sometimes.
Yes.
I believe they're both true.
I agree.
Yeah.
I see it. They show it to me. It's true.
But that's what I'm saying. If that's the case, and Callum
He
is
needs
asking
to know
that,
why.
I'm not saying why. Theoretically, he's already made that decision. Are they being like, here's the decision you're going to make? But it is free will in that moment. And it is that moment, but it's already
No, this is a
happened.
limitation of language where you
Yes.
have words that you're using. And if you put those words next to each other in this way, you can't make it work.
Yeah. We've always had free will.
Like
but
here's
it's all
a
happened.
here's a different way you could. Yeah,
I think I would. Here's how I always answer questions like this. When somebody's stuck on a thing like this, truly, I can feel where it is in your body. It's in your brainstem right here.
Yeah, we love this shit. We love to sit and think about it and talk about it.
But let me answer the question. No, but
she's gonna ruin our podcast in 2 sentences.
No, I'm not, because they won't do it. They'll never
ruin it. Don't ruin it.
They'll never do it.
I beg of you.
What it is when you're stuck on a question like that, and you have to know, but how does it work? And you have to know, and you have to know.
No, I don't have to. We're just talking about it.
Yeah, but you have to know.
It's a fun feeling.
I know. I get it.
He just wants to be right. He doesn't.
No, I don't need to be right.
It's
I
not
like
like
talking
an
about it.
obsessive compulsive. It's just a fun.
But where does that
Would you
fun
like
live?
me to say more? I
Please.
can stop.
Yes.
Whether it's fun or not, if you're like, where's the answer? And I'm having fun asking where's the answer, or I'm tortured by asking where's the answer. It doesn't matter. What matters is that energetically, there's a place in you that has separation. That if I were to go in there energetically right now, if you were to let me feel into it, I'm already doing it. Sorry, it's happening. Because when we talk about a thing that's there, my field starts to go to work on it. And you're in touch with it right now. So it's already starting to move. Yeah, that.
Are you feeling it?
I felt the warm cooling sensation come over.
When we dissolve that through love, which is just conscious divine light that I'm just transmitting into you because you're open to it, because you're present to it right now, it dissolves. And then you're like, oh, and there is no more I have to know, even if it's fun or not fun. I don't have to know because it's answered. It gets answered here. And then your mind goes, oh, and then there's no more question. Did it work? No, he's not done.
Yeah. It's always a journey. You're never.
No, I know.
And I think that makes great sense because so often we want. I've resisted addressing certain things because we've attached our ego, or we've attached our personality, or we've attached things we fucking love about ourselves to some things that, and then you're like, you're going to heal that, but that's fun. Wait, no.
Right.
You're like, oh, okay, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
but
in other words, a different way to say it would be to say, the answer to the question is in dissolving the question. How do you dissolve the question? You have to break apart the energy that's holding it. And then when you break apart the energy that's holding it, you're shown a third thing. Right now, you can't see it. You're like, is it this or this? Or you're like, it could be like this. Is it like this or this? But the mind can only see options like this. Right. When you dissolve it here, all of that goes away. And so what was the question again? Is what you would say. You'd be like, oh, I get it. It's all the same and all the time, and there's no forward and back. It's all right now, here, oneness. It's all one thing.
Right.
But
that's what I thought.
That's what you thought. Yeah. But I'm just saying, there's no anything you're doing with, but is it like this because of that? Anything has any linearity at all has behind it an energy that is stuck.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
One would say that people having those questions, maybe being stuck, has advanced science.
Yeah.
In many ways.
Yeah.
People having a constant question and just drive and burning desire to know the answer to that question.
Totally.
Has on many occasions.
Yes.
Driven science. And
in fact, it's the whole thing that drives all of humanity's development of everything.
Yeah.
Right.
So, well, I'm not saying don't have questions.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know like the obsessive questions.
Right. That's different.
That maybe do need to get cleared because
they're driving you crazy.
Causing an imbalance in their life.
Yes, totally. But these are just like fun.
Yeah.
But still the answer to the abstract fun question is the same as the answer to the obsessive question. Anyway, that was all I was trying to say.
So, and it's one of those
I
things.
didn't mean to get too strident about that. I was just trying to make the point.
Well, yeah, and it's hard not to hear that and I know you don't have judgment about it, but it's hard to like not hear like, oh, you're judging that thing.
Who is judging which thing?
By saying, oh, I need to dissolve it. When I hear that, I go, oh, and I know you're not. My point is, it's hard to, I don't think you're judging.
No.
When you tell somebody, oh, this is what's happening with you, you're stuck and this is where the energy is, and I can clear that for you. That could feel like a judgment.
Well,
is that what you're saying?
I see. But they've come to me. And where is it?
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. I'm not. I'm just saying, like, that's what. Yeah. But
it
obviously,
could feel like that.
It's really weird.
Science advances. That's great. Also, it hurts me inside, so I'd love to get rid of it.
Yeah,
that's great.
Right.
It's fun to watch Katie chase people through the Safeway parking lot going, I can clear that for you. I can.
Do you really?
No.
I couldn't give a fuck if people clear shit. Personally, I don't give a flying fuck. I'm way too self-centered.
So I have been dying to wedge everything everywhere all at once into Time Pop.
Yeah, man.
And I think
Yeah.
you guys coming on the show
It's a great
will
idea.
make it.
Well, because it's not technically time travel.
Yeah.
It's through dimension travel.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about.
But it's such a great conversation. And
But what's
I think
the
we would have.
difference between dimension and time?
Gravity, love.
Save it for the podcast.
Yes.
Is this the podcast?
This is our podcast.
This-
We're done.
We got to wrap it up.
It is a great podcast. This is a perfect example of what the first half of All the Answers is, and a little bit of the second half.
Yeah.
Katie got into it a little bit, but a lot of times then we will go into a full meditation,
Yeah.
and Katie will clear some stuff.
Well, they can send their questions to start. It's not necessarily that we'll bring you on the show.
Yes.
But absolutely any questions you might have, you can send to allanswerspod@gmail.com.
Could that be more announcery?
allanswerspod@gmail.com.
That was very.
That's the late night version.
That was like NPR.
Ooh.
Sexy NPR.
Yeah, that's sexy.
I needed more vocal fry. allanswerspod@gmail.com.
It's like if Dr. Drew did the show.
Also, if you want to, hop on our
Patreon.
Patreon and give us some money so,
We can keep doing this.
keep doing this.
Pay
That'd be
Desmond
great.
some cash.
Yes.
How can people find out more about Time Pop, Desmond?
Time Pop. Well,
more announcery, Scott. How can people find out more
Oh,
about Time Pop, Desmond?
that's interesting. The dragon announced it.
Real quick, before we fully finish up with All the Answers, if you want to listen to a full episode of All the Answers, I think number 77, Space Tampons, is a great place to start. They have an awesome, funny conversation, as the title would suggest. And Katie full on explains what she does. She gives a great definition of the Akashic Records, and then she goes in.
You had me at the title. I'm already in for Space Tampons.
Me too.
Yeah.
Katie's like,
Whatever that is.
he's like,
I
that
love
sounds
it.
like a. That sounds
Also,
like a good,
Demon Breath is a good episode.
Demon
Breath is good.
We like that.
Yeah.
Space Tampons.
Good titles.
That's the
Good
name of my
show.
new.
Yeah.
That's the name of my new band.
Yeah.
If you would like to listen to Time Pop, I think a great place to start would be season 3, episode 22. That is our top 10 time travel movies. This is not a podcast-wide top 10. This is an individual host top 10. So we all give our own little take on it. All of our lists are a little bit different, and we explain why. Give everyone the time travel movie you think they should go out and watch right now.
Oh.
If you're really into time travel, I think you should go. You guys are gonna laugh at me. Men in Black 3.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Whoa.
Have it.
Yes.
That's the recommendation out of everything?
I mean,
no.
obviously know about Tenet and Interstellar.
They don't all know about that.
This is the one that most people haven't seen. They don't know about it. There is some really fun, interesting time travel aspects in Men in Black 3. I stand by it.
There is.
Or maybe Interstellar.
Well, yeah, everyone's seen
No,
Interstellar.
not everyone has seen it. We're just saying, who are we talking to?
Watch it through don't just watch it through the lens. And we have episodes on all of these
Yeah,
movies.
we already know
so
you're going to see it.
after you watch the movie, let me see, what am I going to do? I'm going to go weird. They call it a horror movie. I'd say it's a little bit more of a thriller. Check out
I
Triangle.
knew it. I knew you were going to say
Triangles.
I don't know that movie at all.
No one does.
Oh.
But it's a great.
Some time travel movies that we do, you literally have to map out the different versions of himself in the plot to fully understand. Like version 1 of Desmond is here, then the other one comes. And you got to map where's Desmond 1, 2, and
He
3.
likes those kinds.
If I don't have to
I
find
call
a
them the
graph
mindfuck
online,
films. Yeah,
I don't have to find a graph.
It's not worth it. No.
No.
I call them mindfuck films. Yeah,
That's
there's
like
a
the
few that
opposite
you
of
need.
the ones I want. Yeah. You don't want the maps.
And if you have any recommendations of time travel movies that we should watch, send that to timepoppod@gmail.com. That is timepoppod@gmail.com. You can find all of these wonderful shows that we talked about today at whatsoundsawesome.com. That is whatsoundsawesome.com, or wherever you find fine, free podcasts. And if you would like to be the next installment on the Sounds Awesome Network, head on over to whatsoundsawesome.com. There is a link there where you can get in touch with me. And all you have to do is talk. I'll do the rest.
All you have to do.
Plural. That's a good deal. I would do it.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do your work
Do
in
your work.
time.
Good night. Travel. Time. Pop. The end. We're done.
I am not average. I
What is a vaganza? And what makes it an extravaganza?
Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It, LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com.
Wait, Katie, you can't tell this story now. You got to save it for our podcast.